Hello, everyone, and welcome to SuttonsDaze. In case you couldn't guess, today we are canning taters, baby. Yeah, I always get a lot of questions on potatoes, so I thought this would be a great opportunity to give you all the information that I know of regarding canning potatoes. Okay, I am canning golden potatoes because I prefer them. They are less starchy. Overall, I think they're a better quality potato, but that's my personal preference. That is not gospel, okay? So whatever kind of potatoes you want, those are the ones to do. If it's a matter of budget, then, white, Idaho, russets, whatever they're called, are great potatoes to can. I can those forever because I can normally get a 50-pound bag for pretty cheap, but they are very starchy, okay? And so there's no way to get all of that starch out. And when you can them, they can be rather cloudy, you know what I mean? And some people that's off-putting. Honest to goodness, it's just the potato. It's the nature of the beast. You're not going to change potatoes. Another question that I had is, what about the peels? What do you do with the peels? Well, honestly, when there's pigs here, I feed them to the pigs because they love them. And who doesn't want extra carbs, right? When you're raising pork. But this batch, because I don't have pigs yet, they're not going to be here for another week. This batch is going into the compost bin. Can you put them in the compost bin? Absolutely, you can. Yes. So you might grow some potatoes in your compost. They'll compost. It's a beautiful thing. But for the most part, these are not going to. None of these have eyes. These are all fine. These are all going to compost down beautifully. Going to be very happy. I hate potato peelers with just about every fiber of my being. So that is why I'm using a paring knife and doing it that way. What I'm doing is canning up 10 pounds of golden potatoes. I have another 10-pound bag that I'm going to do too. I want to see how many quarts this fills because I'm going to do it by the quart this time. Just because it's easier for making what we use it for, Now, canned potatoes, what can you use it for? I have some people that say, oh yeah, we use it for potato salad. I personally didn't care for the texture. I thought they were too gummy for potato salad. But, you do you. It's a matter of personal preference, totally. What I do like doing is giving them a good rinse. And I used to put them in the air fryer. I got rid of my air fryer because I just didn't use it enough to warrant the real estate it was taking up. But I can do the same thing in the oven. I put them on a rack on a cookie sheet. I make sure that they have a nice coating of oil of some sort. And I put them in the oven. And I roast them up. And they are so good. And you can make them nice and crispy, on the outside when you do it that way. So good. My favorite way, my number one favorite way to use canned potatoes is soup. Yep. Because it doesn't get any easier than that. It really, really doesn't. You just drain that. You can keep the liquid out of it if you want. And because why waste it? It's there. It's good. It's potato. I hesitate to call it potato juice, but it is what it is. So, and then you have that great base for soup. Grab a jar of your stock and you are in business. Now we're going to talk about something that is a little bit of taboo while I am finishing this up, because peeling potatoes is kind of like watching paint dry, even for the person who's peeling the potatoes. Yes. We're going to talk about dry canning potatoes. So if you've been with me for any amount of time, you have heard me talk briefly about dry canning potatoes. Let me go into some serious chat about it here. So there's this craze. It's one of those internet crazes some brainiac developed, like putting pickle crisp in green beans. Anyway, so they're saying, dry can the potatoes. So you take them and you cut them up like this. And honest to goodness, I don't even know if they tell you to blanch them or not. Probably not. But, and then you just put them in the jar and you can them that way with no additional liquid. I can tell you that is probably one of the most foolish things I have ever seen anybody try to promote. That is so remarkably unsafe because the liquid acts as a conduit, just like meat, you guys. Liquid acts as a conduit to make sure that the temperature gets all the way through. The pressure, the temperature, all that stuff gets all the way through the middle of the potato and preserves it properly, kills off anything that might cause you harm. All of that air in there, you're not gonna vacuum all that air out of there. There's no way to. It's literally impossible. So putting dry potatoes, raw potatoes, in a jar with no liquid and then canning them is Russian roulette with your family. Seriously. You are playing Russian roulette. That's the only thing I can compare it to. I've seen pictures where somebody went back to the jar later and they were all black and nasty. And I've had other people say, oh, I do this. They're great. No, you are playing Russian roulette. So if that is the game that you like to play with your family, then, I can't even tell you to do it then. Just don't do it. Do it the right way. You are saving nothing by doing it by doing it incorrectly. You are wasting money, you are wasting time, you are wasting energy, and you are putting you and yours at risk. And especially with potato salad season coming up, hello, summer is potato salad season. That is already rife with possibilities for botulism. But then you're going to just, throw down on it and say, hey, let's just make it even more risky and let's put dry canned potatoes in our potato salad. Please don't do it. Don't do it. I just really cannot stress enough how remarkably unsafe that is. Now, what I am doing, you see, is I am carving them up longwise because I want to put them in the jar that way. I think that it'll be fun. You'll have more possibilities. I can make, oven fries with them for Phil. Oops, got too much over that one. And I can, still use them for casseroles and all that kind of stuff. And doesn't matter what shape they are. If you want to use them for soup, you're just going to grab your food processor or your immersion blender or whatever the case may be and, beat them up. Beat them into submission. That's the thing. So what I'm doing right now, the National Center for Home Food Preservation, let me show you this real quick, okay? The National Center for Home Food Preservation on the website, I will put the link down below, but they are, they're pretty specific about what to do. Wash and peel the potatoes, place in a sorbic acid solution to prevent darkening. Now, never in all my years of canning have I put anything in that water except water and taters, because they're not living there. They are just spending a short time to keep from browning, okay? So that's what we're doing. Sorry for the camera jiggle. You don't need the ascorbic acid if you're, doing the potatoes. So you're not going to be doing so many all at once that there's any risk of them browning. Now, are you going to store it overnight in water in your fridge or something? I still don't see the need for the ascorbic acid, but that's, a judgment call at that point. But if you're literally spending your day canning potatoes, you're fine. You don't need it. If desired, cut into 1/2-inch cubes, drain, and I don't want them cut into cubes. I'm doing them into, like French fries. So that's how I'm doing it. Now, they always say add 1 teaspoon of salt per quart to the jar if desired. It's not necessary. It's not part of the food preservation process. So you don't have to put salt in there. I find no benefit in doing so. If I want them salted, I'll add salt when I do whatever I do with them, right? So that is what we're going to do. Now, one of the big questions that I get on a pretty regular basis is, how do you blanch them for 2 minutes? Because that's what it says to do. If I remember that correctly, where is that? For whole potatoes, boil for 10 minutes. But otherwise, you're going to drain, cook 2 minutes in boiling water, and then drain again. So that's blanching. That's blanching potatoes, okay? And a lot of people say, well, how do you blanch them, without overcooking them? Because then they'll be too mushy. Theoretically, don't know that for sure, but I'll show you what I do as far as that, because you want that water boiling, and that's what we're going to do. So I will bring you along for that part of it. and we will can up some yummy and delicious potatoes. This is not super easy and efficient if you're working in a small cook area, you know what I mean? And I'm going to show you in a small cooking area how I do this, because I don't can on my regular stove. But it's possible. So you're going to need a big bowl or pot that you can put the potatoes into as you're peeling them and cutting them. And then you're going to need a stock pot to boil some water. So I'm going to finish carving up the last of these 10 pounds of potatoes. We'll see how many jars we get. I think I'll be good. And I'm going to get a pot and bring it up to a boil. This is where we start having fun. This is my magic tool, okay? And I'm probably going to go to the smaller one then. Well, maybe. We'll see. But that's my magic tool, because I want to have boiling water in the pot, which I do. And I'm going to scoop out some of the potatoes, okay? I'm going to let the water drain because I don't want the cold water to totally throw it off. And then I'm going to blanch them in here for 2 minutes. So I just set it down in there and hold it so that they're all underwater. And then when we're done with 2 minutes, I will pull it out and we will put those into jars. That's how I blanch them. To me, it's easier. I'm not running the risk of potentially overcooking them. These aren't like mushrooms. Mushrooms, you're not going to over blanch them. Don't worry about it. But potatoes, you can legit make mashed potatoes real quick if you're not right on top of this stuff. So this keeps me right on top of it so that I can pull them out at 2 minutes and then put them into the jars. I have another pot of water on the stove that I'm going to use to then fill the jars. Now, the really cool part about this is you don't have to add water. You can add chicken stock, beef stock, ham stock. You can use whatever kind of stock you have or want. I have used, bouillon. That does add salt, so if you're salt sensitive, or just be careful which ones you use and only use a little bit. But I have taken a ham bone and I have made stock out of that and then canned it with potatoes, and it is the bomb. It is amazing. So I just know that if you give it a try and you like ham, you will love it too. But you don't have to use just water. Use whatever you like for your potatoes. It's really kind of convenient to have, if they're in chicken stock or beef stock or something like that, if you want a little extra flavor in that soup or in whatever you're doing, it is absolutely fantastic. Okay, I'm going to have to set this on top for a minute and set myself up my other pot. The wind chimes are doing their due because I have the windows open because, well, it's going to be 60 today. It may not be right this very second, but I don't need that extra steam in the house, Okay, so I have blanched these for 2 minutes. I have one that escaped. I'll get it. And now we're going to put these into the jars. Whoop, flying. Okay, come on. And you want 1 inch headspace, okay? So don't go overboard with the potatoes in the jaws, because 1 inch headspace is important. Boop, boop. Okay, so now I'm going to get more of those up. Okay, we'll do this. There we go. I'll be fishing for them. But while that's happening, I've got my assembly line set up here. I'm going to take my hot water, because for this time I'm just using hot water. And we're going to fill it up to 1 inch headspace. Okay. There we go. Hoo, hoo, hoo. So good. Okay. We've let these blanch for 2 minutes. I'm going to strain that off. And you kind of set yourself up a little assembly line. It's amazing what you can get done in 2 minutes. Right? Come on. Okay. And let's scoop out some more. There we go. Okay. And then we'll come back over here. We'll add water. Whoops, I can add more potatoes in there. So that is what I'm going to do. Okay. Get down, get down, get down. Okay. Now, debubbling. We will do some debubbling. because water can get trapped underneath those potatoes. There we go. So I will grab my handy dandy trusty debubbler and I will bring you down. Okay, so you're just going to take that. Oh, see those bubbles come up? That's what you want to get out, okay? So you're just going to move them around a little bit. You're going to make sure those potatoes are under the water. You really don't want them above the water, so give yourself some room, okay? So they're all moved around, debubbled, off to the side. Now we're going to do the same here. There we go. Debubbled. It's a beautiful thing. So the way that I cut it, 10 pounds of potatoes ended up netting me 6.5 jars of potatoes. I'm going to can that half jar. I'm just going to put the liquid all the way up to 1 inch because I'm not going to peel any more potatoes. But 10 pounds net me 6 quarts. So that's kind of a good reference to have in mind. You can always go, you know, that extra pound and cut up another couple of potatoes. But that's okay. This just means that I'll have a nice partial jar. It's all fine. Okay, so now we are going to move all of this fun stuff out of the way. We're going to debubble. Give me back my debubbler. Okay, so we're going to go through and debubble because that's important. And then see now I've got some sticking up above. Pardon me, so I'm going to put these down. Potatoes, and I'm going to get rid of some of that water. Potatoes will absorb liquid during the canning process. So you really want to make sure that they are under, you know. So I might get 6 straight jars out of this because I like having the extra liquid in there. They do absorb. I don't want them to be sitting above because they will discolor. Are they bad if they discolor? No, they're just ugly. So it's just a preference. You know, I don't like eating black potatoes. There's very few, you know, I'll eat ugly chicken. Ugly potatoes? No, not so much. Not so much. Okay, so you want to make sure that they are all submerged. Adjust your water. Where did that go? Adjust your water once you're done debubbling to make sure that they are at 1 inch headspace, because when you debubble, you can misplace that water. Okay, and now we're going to adjust that one again, but you just, you know, you play. It's kind of like, you know, a puzzle. You just get it all in there. Okay, now we are going to wipe off the rims. As usual, I prefer vinegar. It's not a must. You can just do water. But whatever you do, you want to grab a clean washcloth or a paper towel, and you want to hit those rims and make sure that you have anything potentially off them. You want to check for chips or cracks that you might have missed when you pulled them out. It happens, not a big deal. Okay, but they're not, you can't can with them when they're like that. So next, we are going to put on our lids. What am I using? Forjars lids, my friends. You know me, I love my Forjars lids, right? These are awesome. You see that button in there. I have had just resounding, amazing success with these. Seriously, they are fantastic. And there is still a coupon code. Full disclosure, I am now officially an affiliate of Forjars lids. So yeah, there you go. But we're going to be using these. Let me get this all cleaned up. I've got my canner heating up on the other stove, so I have to move it over to this one. I'll be right back. So many of you have told me and shared with me how much success you've had with Forjars lids. If you want to share it down below, that would be awesome. Okay, so finger tight. You just saw me put it on there. It goes until it doesn't go anymore, but you're not cranking it on there tight, right? And rubber gloves on hot jars, probably not a right idea. But you have hot jars, you have hot food, you have hot liquid, and it's got to go into a canner that has hot water to avoid thermal shock. Okay? Because that is no fun. So we are going to put these in here. And because off the top of my head, I cannot remember. What was the top of my head? Okay, so I am using the jiggler, which is the weighted regulator. Okay. And for that, that means quarts, I need to process them for 40 minutes. at 10 pounds of pressure. Be sure to look at the link down below to tell you, that tells you how long and at what pressure, depending on the regulator that you use, because it changes. It's not all the same. It changes. Okay, so I can fit 7 quarts, so that worked out beautifully. So by the time I rearranged and got everything underwater, I have 7 quarts of potatoes. It's a beautiful thing. Yes, it is. Okay, so we have 7 quarts of potatoes. I'm going to grab my lid. One-handed. You know it. Okay, and we are going to put that on, and then we are going to turn it until it stops, okay? We're going to turn that heat back up because when I moved it over, I forgot to turn the heat on, but that's okay. It's still hot. And we're going to wait until this starts blowing out a steady stream of steam. Do you have to see the steam? No. You just have to know that it exists, okay? I, more often than not, cannot see the steam with the lighting in my kitchen. So no, you do not have to see the steam coming out of there. You have to know that it's coming out in a steady wave. So when you do that, you get that and you set your timer for 10 minutes. Remember, if you're interested in Forjars canning lids, there's a link down below where you can save 10%. Yes. And hey, friends, I will give you a link that is not an affiliate link. Okay. If you are in Canada, they're now available in Canada, my friends. Yes, they are. I'm so excited. This is just awesome. Let's chat for a minute about all that water. Okay. I'm sure somebody's going to come at with me. Come at me saying, oh, but there's a water shortage. And there is. Okay. So it's going to be very dangerous drought conditions on the west side of the country this year. So I encourage you to be very intentional with your water. When you are doing something like this, it does take a lot of water. That does not mean you should remove it out of the canning process. It's necessary. It's there for a reason. It is the safe tested method. Thank you. And because I don't want you playing Russian roulette with your family and your health. It's just not worth it. Okay. So what do you do with the excess water that you might have, like from soaking the potatoes so they don't go brown, or blanching the potatoes, okay? Or even if you have a little bit left over from what you were adding to the jars, because you have to add it to the jars. It's real simple. Pour it into a bucket or a really big pot. Let it come down completely cool, right? Use it to water your plants. Use it to water your garden. Use it to, take care of business in your yard. Pour it into a container and save it if you have to, but use it that way. That way you're not letting anything go to waste. I think it's going to be remarkably important that we pay attention to our water. For anybody on the west side, and I'm talking about like divide the country in thirds, okay? There's severe water shortages that are going to be happening. They're already talking about them. Do what you can to preserve the water that you have and use it completely. You guys, I've had people mention on me here about my big sink of water when I'm washing my jars, okay? I don't know what to tell you. I understand not everybody has the abundance of water that we have. Our water table is so high here, I can't have a basement, okay? So I'm good. I'm good, and I use everything that I can, but I did pour that water off into a bucket because I'm going to use it in my garden. Let's take any leftover minerals, whatever that are in there from the potatoes. Use it for some good. Use the water for some good. It will not harm your plants. It will only benefit them. And make sure that it's cold. Make sure that it's cool. Don't pour hot water on your plants, please. If you've got house plants, use it to water your house plants. It's a beautiful thing. One of the few times that you can see a steady stream of steam, right? So now I'm going to start my timer for 10 minutes. Okay, my friends. So this depressurized completely on its own. You know the drill, right? We let it sit for 5 minutes. Now we're going to, because I have the window open, you can hear the chimes. I'm going to just tip it and let it kind of sit for 5 minutes. Let's get these out of here. See what kind of trouble we can get into. Oh, there's still quite a temperature change. Let me close my window. Oh, So we are going to pull these out. Oh, I'm so excited. Look at that. Gorgeous, I tell you. Simply gorgeous. Okay. I'm so happy. Okay. Now I've got one jar in here that's saying that temperature change was not a good thing, lady. Nope. And I can tell. So I will watch that, because if any of them fail, it's that, because the temperature change was too much. But let's see. So it looks like I had some siphoning on that one. Not sure why. This is the one that might give me fits. We will see. And then there is this one. Okay. So there was definitely a siphoning issue, which does not surprise me, truthfully. You can see the water siphoned a bit. Doesn't totally surprise me. So those are my two potential problem jars right there. On Monday Night Live, be sure to check in with me. See if they sealed or not. I will make a mental note, even though this one looks like it's sealed. Oh, no, it doesn't. On the camera, it looks different. Okay. But, well, maybe not. I don't know. We're going to let them sit here. You see, now that is another thing that I'm seeing a lot of questions come up about is, oh, well, right afterwards, it wasn't bubbling. So does that mean it doesn't seal? No, not at all. The bubbling can be indicative of it not sealing, but it's not 100% by any stretch of the imagination. I won't know if these sealed until tomorrow, plain and simple, and neither will you, okay? So if you may think that, you know, oh, well, these two might have an issue because this one is, you know, doing that whole bubble thing because I could tell from the temperature change, and the other one is just sitting there because it's siphoned, so oh, I bet you they don't seal, so I'm just going to put them in the fridge now. Don't do that. Don't do that, okay? Because then when you do go to use them, you'll say, oh, look at, they sealed. No, they didn't. It's a completely false seal, so don't do that, okay? But I know the other ones for sure are good, and if these did not seal properly, it was 100% my fault. Yes, it was. Because I probably did something wrong. Now, and actually I think I know what it is. So this doesn't totally surprise me. It got a little high on me when I walked away. I was doing something in the pantry. This is why you sit on your jars, folks. Yep. Even the super confident. Things like that happen. So don't leave your kitchen. Seriously, pull up a chair, grab your Kindle, grab your book, whatever. Stay in the kitchen with your canner. And I was in the other room and didn't hear anything. And I know that it got high there for a few minutes. So even with a jiggler, it can, if it's jiggling too fast, which is what it did, then that can be an issue. So it's not a fail-safe. Remember, this is an activity that you need to be present for. Okay? So if you can't be present for it, don't do it. Let's see. So as always, Forjars canning lids. Remember, I have a coupon code in the description box below that you can get 10% off. Be sure to check out their site. All kinds of really good stuff. I am excited about this. Now I have to do another canner load. I have another 10 pounds. That may come tomorrow because it's actually nice out for the first time in, a month. So I'm going to get outside. Oh, let me tell you about this little doohickey right here. This beautiful canning mat. You guys see that? That is a canning mat made by a Dazer. Yes, it is. So she just opened up her Etsy store. And she is a recent widow. And so she is trying to make a little bit extra money. So she doesn't have a whole bunch listed up there, but she does have some. If you're interested, go check them out. See if you like them. Give her a hello and a shout out. I love this color. Can you see it? Can you see it? I love that. It's just so pretty. But I put the hearts up top because, well, I love you guys. Okay, remember, if you like what we do here, please hit that like, subscribe, and share. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook. And until the next time, be safe.